Hi guys, so welcome to another video tutorial on introduction to Python in our data science with Python channel. In this channel we are working towards learning data science, and then we're starting off first with learning Python. Right, so we're looking at every object inside Python, like basic objects in Python, as this will relate to learning data science in future. And today we're going to be looking at a data structure, called tuples, right? So basically, tuples is a data structure that stores information. Right, it's a data structure, and it has some characteristics, and we're going to talk about it. It is sequenced. Just like a Python list, it is sequenced. And so that means for the values that are inside of it, it's enumerated on, like, their numbers representing them. So that means you can index it and then use the positional or the numerical position to read the elements inside. Also, a tuple is immutable. So that means you cannot make changes to the elements once you have them. So the values are fixed. The values inside the tuple are fixed. They're fixed and cannot change. Right? So they're fixed and cannot change. So again, you cannot delete items in a tuple. Again, unlike with comparing that to a list, right? So it's like that. So why don't we create a tuple? So we create a tuple. Now also, to create a tuple, right, the tuple is created, but this time when we're going to do the creation, we're going to create it like differently. We're going to use parentheses to create them. So we create tuples using parentheses, right? So which means we have something like this. So here we have a few of this, right? So the next thing we will do is to create a tuple, right? And so we're going to see how tuple creation goes. So we can do that in several ways, right? So let me call this. So let's creating tuples. It's really important that documentation is a thing when you are writing code. So we have this, creating tuples. All right, let's make it this way. And so we run this. Nice. Now, the first thing I want to do is you can basically give a tuple a name. Let me call this maybe tuple underscore numbers. And so pretty simple, we basically go in like this. Now remember, I mentioned that we can create a tuple by using parentheses. Also, without using parentheses, you could basically just create a tuple by saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Wow, so you see that? So if I look at the type and I put tuple underscore numbers, so you see I've got myself a tuple, right? And so that means if I print this to stream, here I go, I got myself a tuple. So you can now see what I'm talking about. The parentheses, this is what I'm talking about, right? So this is one way to create a tuple. Another way to create a tuple is basically putting them inside the square bracket itself. So another way is, let's call this one way so we're going to have another way to create a tuple. This time let me see what I could do. So let me call this tuple underscore names, and inside of it I'll have a bracket this way, and then let me see if I could put names inside. So writing the name of my peoples, right? So we have that. Put that, and then again you can see that if I print tuple underscore names, I have myself, yes, so set of names on the tuple. So I mean, so that makes it so, which is this again is another way to create a tuple, right? Then another, I think one thing we can basically do is we can cast a list into a tuple, basically using a tuple function, right? So say we have an existing list. Yeah, we have an existing list here. So we have list underscore cars underscore copy. So let's see if that's what we have here. List underscore cars underscore copy. So yeah, so you see we have that. Now we want to convert this, so we're going to call this a tuple underscore cars underscore copy. So in here we are going to use the tuple function. See that? The tuple function, built-in immutable sequence. That's what it's written in the documentation. And then inside of it we are going to put in what do you call it? Lists underscore cars underscore, yeah. So that's what we have here, and then we go on to cast it inside. So you can see that now that we formerly had a list over here, and now if I put a type and I have my tuple underscore cars underscore copy, then I got myself a tuple. So that's another way we could basically create one. So yes, so pretty basic stuff. We're looking at tuples, which is a data structure in Python used to store data and access data. We saw that it's sequenced, and we're going to look at all these things as we proceed. And it's immutable, values are fixed and cannot change, and you can create a tuple using square bracket, when you create a tuple. Here, I like to state something different here. So we create a tuple using parentheses, or a tuple, it's known, a tuple has parentheses instead of square brackets. So a tuple has parentheses. So let's call it that. Has parentheses, just like a list has a square bracket. And so there are different ways to create a tuple. You can see all that. We did it here. We also created tuples with names inside of them, right? And then finally, we used we also casted a list into a tuple by using a tuple function, right? So learning Python one object at a time. Like this video, subscribe, so that every time I post a new video, you will get a notification.